Commander Vextal stood in the great hall of the Galactic Council. His body hurt from many old battles. The armor covering his insect-like body had deep cuts and marks from fights across the galaxy. But the worst pain was inside his mind from what he had seen. The hall was huge and made of crystal that sparkled with light from 12 different suns. Around the room sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Each one looked different. Some had tentacles instead of arms. Others were made of living rock that glowed. A few looked like giant fish that floated in tanks of water. Vextal walked slowly to the center of the room. His translator box made his clicking sounds into words the others could understand. "Great leaders of the galaxy," he said, "I come here today with a warning. I have seen something that will change everything we know about war." The Aquari delegate moved her tentacles with annoyance. She did not want to listen to another old soldier talk about his battles. The rock-like Krenth just pulsed with dim light, which meant he was bored. "My ships went to fight near a small yellow star called Sol," Vextal continued. "There we met a new species called humans. What I saw there scared me more than any battle I have ever fought." He pressed a button and pictures appeared in the air above him. The pictures showed a battle on a rocky moon. One small group of human soldiers held back my entire army for 3 days. They had simple weapons that shoot metal bullets. We had energy guns and force shields. But they would not give up. The Aquari delegate made a bubbling sound that meant she was laughing. "Commander, you are famous for winning battles. Surely you are making this sound worse than it was. These humans are new to space travel. They are weak. That is what makes them dangerous," Vextal said, his voice getting louder. "I watched a human female soldier named Hygiene keep fighting even after her lung was hurt and her ribs were broken. She should have died, but she kept shooting at my warriors." He changed the picture to show another part of the battle. Another human called Du Hyun threw himself in front of enemy fire to save his friends. Even while dying, he killed 6 of my best soldiers. 6. And he was already badly hurt. The rock being Krenth pulsed brighter, which was his way of laughing. "Fear has made you crazy, old commander. No thinking creature fights when they should logically surrender and live." Vextal hit the podium with his armored hand. The loud bang made everyone pay attention. "That is exactly what I am trying to tell you. These humans do not fight like any other species we know. They fight like wild animals protecting their babies. When you hurt them, they do not get weaker. They get angrier and more dangerous." He showed more pictures from the battle. "When we surrounded them, they did not panic. They changed their fighting style in ways I have never seen. They used the rocks and caves as weapons. They turned our own equipment against us when they captured it." The room filled with sounds of disbelief. Some aliens made clicking noises, others bubbled, and some hummed low notes. All of them meant the same thing: they did not believe him. The High Arbiter was the oldest and most respected leader in the council. Her blue scales were pale from 300 years of making important decisions. She raised her hand for quiet. "Commander Vextal, we respect what you have done for peace in our galaxy. But these humans have not tried to take over any other worlds. They seem to be a peaceful people who just want to be left alone." Vextal's voice became very quiet, which made everyone lean forward to hear him. "That is the most frightening thing about them. They do not want to conquer anyone. They do not want to rule the galaxy. But if you threaten their families, their homes, their friends, they become something terrible. Something that will not stop until the threat is completely gone." He looked around the room at all the powerful aliens. "I am telling you this as someone who has fought in more wars than most of you have lived through. If anyone is stupid enough to really make these humans angry, they will learn something terrible. They will learn that some planets make creatures that should never be pushed too far." The pictures changed to show Earth, a blue and green world that looked peaceful and beautiful. This planet made these humans. It is a world where everything fights to survive. The plants fight each other for sunlight. The animals fight each other for food. Even the weather tries to kill everything living there. And humans became the strongest of all the creatures on this deadly world. He paused to let them think about this. "Every other species we know comes from worlds that are mostly safe. We learned to be civilized because we did not have to fight every day just to live. But humans learned to fight before they learned to think. Fighting is not something they do. Fighting is what they are." The meeting ended with polite words, but Vextal could see that none of them really believed him. As he walked out of the Great Hall, he heard them already talking about trade deals and mining rights. They had forgotten his warning before he even left the room. Outside in the corridor, Vextal looked back at the crystal doors. He whispered to himself, "I have done what I could. When the time comes and someone makes the humans truly angry, do not say I did not warn you." Then he walked away, hoping he would be wrong but knowing he was right. 6 months passed after the old commander's warning. The powerful aliens called the hegemony of Kaler decided they would show everyone how weak humans really were. War leader Thakmor sat in his big spaceship looking at screens that showed his battle plans. He had 4 eyes that could see many colors, and all 4 eyes were happy with what they saw. "We will attack the human colony called New Geneva," he told his officers. "This will be easy. We have 3 groups of warships. The humans have almost nothing to fight with." Thakmor was sure this would take only 3 days. His people had conquered 47 worlds. Humans were just farmers and miners on a few small planets. How hard could it be? The attack started exactly like Thakmor expected. The humans had some old weapons in space around their planet, but these were weak and slow. His ships destroyed them quickly with bright energy beams. Then thousands of Kaler soldiers landed on the planet in their flying ships. But when they got to the human town, something was wrong. The streets were empty. The houses were empty. There were no humans anywhere. "Sir," said Subcommander Raktel, "the humans ran away to the mountains. Our heat sensors show small groups hiding in the rocks. Maybe 3,000 people total." Thakmor's 4 eyes blinked one after another, which meant he was confused. His people always stayed and fought even when they were going to lose. 3,000 farmers? Send 2,000 of our best soldiers to catch them. What happened next was not in any of Thakmor's military books. The humans did not line up and fight like normal armies. Instead, they disappeared like ghosts. A human named Boram used to dig in mines for metals. Now he took the explosives used for mining and turned them into bombs. The tunnels where he used to work became traps that killed Kaler soldiers. Another human named Teo used to check if plants were growing well. Now he led a group of farmers to attack a Kaler supply base. They used their farming tools as weapons. The attack worked, and they stole real guns and energy weapons. The scary part was how fast they learned to use these new weapons. But the human who scared the Kaler soldiers most was a woman named Unji. She used to be a security guard for the colony. Now she hunted Kaler patrols like a wild animal hunts prey. She knew the planet's weather patterns and used storms and fog to hide. She would attack at sunrise when the Kaler could not see well, kill entire groups of soldiers, then disappear into rocks and caves that seemed impossible to reach. "These are not soldiers," Raktel told his commander after losing his 5th patrol in 2 weeks. His voice was shaking. "They are just normal people. Farmers, miners, security guards. How are they killing our trained warriors?" Thakmor looked at his battle screen. It was covered with red dots. Each red dot meant dead Kaler soldiers or destroyed equipment. There were dozens of them. "They are not fighting like soldiers," he said slowly. "They are fighting like animals protecting their babies. Every rock on this planet is a weapon. Every tree is a hiding place. Every piece of their equipment becomes a trap." The Kaler had expected to control the planet in 3 days. Instead, 2 months passed and they were losing badly. Thakmor had lost more soldiers fighting simple farmers than he lost during the big Rig-Ne border war that lasted 2 years. The worst part was not knowing where the humans were or what they would do next. Kaler soldiers were afraid to patrol alone. They were afraid to sleep. They were afraid to touch anything because it might explode. One day Raktel brought even worse news. "War leader, we listened to human radio messages. They are not calling for help from Earth. They are not trying to surrender. They are teaching other human colonies how to fight us. They are sharing information about our weapons, our ships, our tactics." Thakmor felt cold fear in his stomach. The humans on this one planet were not just fighting to save themselves. They were learning everything they could about Kaler military methods and telling humans on other worlds. Every battle was making all humans smarter about how to fight aliens. "Look at this message we intercepted," Raktel said, playing a recording of human voices speaking in their strange language. The translation device made it into words Thakmor could understand. "The Kaler energy shields are weak against their own weapons. If you can steal their guns, aim for the blue spots on their armor. Their ships cannot see you in heavy rain. Use the weather. Make them come to you, never go to them." Thakmor realized with growing horror that every day of fighting was making humans everywhere more dangerous. They were not just defending one colony. They were turning this war into a school that taught all humans how to defeat the Kaler. "They learn from everything," he whispered. "Every attack we make teaches them something new. Every weapon we use, they figure out how to use against us. Every mistake we make, they remember forever." The 3-day victory was becoming a nightmare that grew worse each day. And somewhere in the mountains, 3,000 humans who had never been real soldiers were becoming something far more dangerous than any army Thakmor had ever faced. War leader Thakmor stood in front of the most powerful military leaders in the galaxy. His uniform was dirty and torn. His 4 eyes looked tired and scared. 6 months of fighting humans had destroyed most of his army. "I need more ships and soldiers," he told the big commanders who sat around a dark metal table. "These humans fight in ways we never learned about in military school." Supreme War Leader Voxtal was the strongest military leader of all the alien races. His people had conquered 47 different worlds. He looked at the reports showing how many Kaler soldiers had died. He could not believe what he was reading. "You are telling me that farmers and miners have stopped 3 whole battle fleets?" Voxtal asked. His voice was angry and confused. "They are not just stopping us," Thakmor said quietly. "They are beating us." He pressed buttons to show pictures in the air. The pictures showed maps of planets where they were supposed to be winning. Instead, the maps were mostly red, which meant humans controlled those areas. "We only control the places where our spaceships landed, and only during the day when we can see," Thakmor explained. "At night, everywhere belongs to the humans. They own the forests, the mountains, the deserts. They are everywhere and nowhere at the same time." The other commanders looked at each other with worry. No army had ever lost to farmers before. Voxtal made a decision that would destroy his people. Send the 7th Fleet to attack their food planets. If humans are hungry, they will give up. Proud people might fight forever, but hungry people will surrender to get food. This was the biggest mistake the aliens would ever make. When humans on Earth learned that aliens were trying to starve their families, something terrible happened. Earth's real army came to fight. These were not desperate farmers with mining tools. These were trained human soldiers with real weapons and years of fighting experience. Colonel Jamin led 20 human marines to attack the aliens' biggest supply station in the Kepler star system. This station was protected by 300 of the aliens' best warriors. But the humans got inside anyway. They did not just blow things up. They stole alien weapons and equipment. They learned how everything worked. Then they used the aliens' own technology against them. Major So-Young did something even more amazing. Her soldiers captured an entire convoy of alien supply ships. Then they used those ships to sneak into a heavily guarded alien base. For 3 weeks, they destroyed things and sabotaged equipment. The aliens never knew humans were there because they were using alien ships and alien uniforms. But Lieutenant Colonel Minho showed how smart human warfare really was. His soldiers did not attack alien armies directly. Instead, they attacked the places where aliens made weapons. They destroyed the schools where aliens trained soldiers. They broke the communication systems aliens used to talk to each other. Every attack was planned to cause the most damage while keeping human soldiers safe. "They are not fighting to take our territory," Thakmor reported to his commanders after losing another supply base. "They are fighting to make it impossible for us to fight at all. Every attack is designed to hurt our ability to make war." What scared the alien commanders most was how fast humans learned. The aliens had weapons that were supposed to be impossible for other species to use. But human engineers somehow figured out how to change these weapons and make them work. Fighting methods that had worked for hundreds of years suddenly stopped working when used against humans. Captain Hyunsu's group of human scouts had been cut off from Earth for 2 months. No one could talk to them or give them orders. But they kept fighting and winning battles anyway. When Earth finally contacted them again, Captain Hyunsu's report was terrifying. "We do not need orders from Earth anymore, sir. We know what we have to do." The alien commanders realized they had made a terrible mistake. They thought they were fighting to conquer new territory, like they had done 47 times before. But humans were not fighting for territory. Humans were fighting to survive. And when humans fought for survival, they became something completely different. Every day, human soldiers got better at fighting aliens. They learned from every battle. They shared information with other human groups. They adapted alien technology for their own use. Most frightening of all, they started to think like their enemies, but they still fought like humans. The aliens had awakened something in humanity that their military books never talked about. Humans did not just fight to win battles. They fought to make sure the threat could never come back. They studied their enemies with the same careful attention they used to study science and medicine. "They are learning our weaknesses faster than we can learn theirs," Thakmor told Voxtal during another meeting. "Every weapon we use teaches them how to defend against it. Every tactic we try shows them how to counter it. They are turning our own knowledge against us." Supreme War Leader Voxtal finally understood what Commander Vextal had tried to warn the Galactic Council about. These were not normal creatures fighting a normal war. These were predators from a deadly world, and the aliens had threatened their families. Now there would be no peace until the threat was completely destroyed. The Great Crystal Hall of the Galactic Council filled with worried aliens from across the galaxy. Emergency lights flashed red, which meant something very bad was happening. Leaders from 12 different worlds sat in their special chairs, all looking scared and confused. The HFY delegate moved her tentacles nervously as she spoke. "The reports we are getting are very frightening," she said in her bubbling voice. "The humans are not just defending their colonies anymore. They are destroying the hegemony's military across 17 different star systems." Commander Vextal sat in the back of the room where visitors could watch. His old battle scars looked darker under the flashing lights. He should have felt good about being right, but instead he felt worried. What he was seeing was worse than even he had expected. Pictures appeared in the air showing the latest battles. Major Sung-ho and his human soldiers had been fighting for 3 weeks inside a destroyed space station. There was no air to breathe, no gravity to stand on, and no way to talk to other humans. But they had turned the floating metal pieces into weapons and built a fortress in space that the aliens could not attack without losing many soldiers. "Our cameras recorded this by accident," said the rock-like Krenth, pulsing with dim light that showed he was afraid. "Watch what happens." The pictures changed to show Sergeant Eugene and her small group of soldiers. They were surrounded by 5 times as many alien warriors. The air around them was poison that should have killed them in minutes. But not only did they live, they killed all the aliens attacking them. They used fighting methods that broke every rule of civilized warfare. "They are fighting in places that would kill most of us," said the High Arbiter, her blue scales pale with worry. "But they are not just staying alive. They are learning and changing their fighting style while the battle is happening." The most frightening report came from the border near Rigani space. Captain Jinho and his company of soldiers had been cut off from Earth for 4 months. No one could send them supplies or new orders. When the aliens finally found them, the humans had turned a dead moon into a strong fortress. They were launching attacks on alien bases with perfect timing and planning. "They do not need commanders telling them what to do all the time," the HFY delegate admitted, her tentacles curling with fear. "Each group of human soldiers acts on its own, but somehow they all work together perfectly. It is like they can read each other's minds across space." Commander Vextal finally stood up to speak. His voice was heavy with the knowledge of what was coming. "I tried to tell you all. These humans do not fight wars the way we do. They become the war itself. When you hurt them, they do not get weaker. They get stronger and more dangerous. Every soldier they lose teaches them something new about how to kill their enemies." The pictures changed to show messages that spies had recorded from human communications. When most species got attacked for a long time, they became sad and wanted to give up. But human messages showed they were getting more determined and smarter about fighting. "Listen to this message we intercepted," the High Arbiter said, playing a recording. Colonel Kyung-soo's voice filled the huge room. "We have studied their weapon patterns. 3rd Battalion discovered a weak spot in their armor. Sending this information to all human units. These aliens wanted a war. Let us give them a war they will never forget." The room became completely quiet. Every alien leader understood they were seeing something that had never happened before in the galaxy's history. Here was a species that got better when you tried to destroy them. The more you threatened them, the more dangerous they became. Other recorded human voices played in the hall. Team 7 found out how their ships navigate. If we jam frequency 847.3, their fleet coordination breaks down. Another voice said, "Medical team discovered their weak organs. Aim for the purple spots near their necks." And another, "Their ground vehicles cannot handle temperature changes. Use thermal grenades." Each message showed that humans were learning everything about their enemies and sharing that knowledge with every other human in the galaxy. They were turning war into a science experiment where the goal was to find better ways to win. "The hegemony thought they could show the galaxy that humans were weak," Vextal said to the silent room. "Instead, they have shown everyone what Earth's children really are when you threaten their families. Now every species in known space must decide if they want humans as friends or enemies." The scariest part was not just that humans were winning. The scary part was how they were winning. They fought in poisonous air that killed other species. They survived in the cold vacuum of space. They turned everything around them into weapons. They learned from every battle and got better at killing their enemies. "We thought they were like us," whispered the High Arbiter. "We thought they would fight like civilized beings and then make peace when they got tired. But they are not like us. They are something else. Something that evolution made to survive on a world that tried to kill them every day." Commander Vextal nodded sadly. "And now the galaxy knows what happens when you threaten the children of such a world." 2 years had passed since the hegemony first attacked human colonies. Supreme War Leader Voxtal sat in what used to be his Grand Command Center. Now the walls were cracked and many of the screens were dark. Outside his windows, he could see his home planet covered with the marks of war. But these were not the usual marks of battle. The humans had not destroyed cities or killed civilians. Instead, they had carefully taken apart everything the hegemony used to make war. Every weapons factory was gone. Every military training school was captured. Every research center where new weapons were designed had been destroyed with scientific precision. Voxtal looked at reports from across his former empire. The same story was repeated on every world. The humans had done something no army in galactic history had ever done. They had turned the hegemony's own technology against them. Engineer Captain Dong Min led a group of human scientists and soldiers who studied captured alien weapons. But they did not try to copy the weapons. Instead, they figured out how to make the weapons stop working. Guns that were supposed to never fail suddenly would not fire when humans were nearby. Energy shields that had protected alien soldiers for centuries became useless. How did they do this? Voxtal asked the neutral alien who had come to arrange peace talks. Our weapons were designed to be impossible for other species to use or stop. The neutral diplomat, whose species had never fought in any wars, moved his long neck in what meant he was confused too. Our scientists studied the human modifications. They somehow understand your technology better than you do. They found weaknesses that your own engineers never knew existed. The worst defeat had come when Colonel Haewon attacked the hegemony's most important military school. This was where alien officers learned to fight wars. It was protected by the best soldiers and the strongest defenses in the galaxy. But the humans did not just attack it. They captured it completely with everything inside still working. They took everything, Voxtal said, his voice full of pain. Hundreds of years of military knowledge. Every strategy we ever developed. Every weakness of every species we ever fought. They studied it all like it was homework in a school. The captured military academy had contained the secret methods the hegemony used to conquer 47 worlds. Now humans knew all of these secrets. More frightening, they had improved on them. Human engineers had taken alien battle plans and made them better. But the most terrifying thing was how completely the humans had won. They had not just defeated the hegemony's armies. They had made it impossible for the hegemony to ever have armies again. Look at this list. Voxtal showed the neutral diplomat a long document. Every weapons manufacturing plant, captured or destroyed. Every shipyard where we built warships, captured or destroyed. Every training facility where we taught soldiers, captured or destroyed. Every research center where we developed new technology, captured or destroyed. The diplomat studied the list with growing amazement. But your civilian cities are untouched. Your farms still grow food. Your hospitals still heal the sick. They only destroyed your ability to make war. That is what makes them so terrifying, Voxtal said. They did not want to destroy us. They wanted to make sure we could never threaten anyone again. They studied us like scientists studying insects. They learned exactly what we needed to wage war, and then they took it all away. The humans had proven they could defeat the strongest military alliance in the galaxy. But they had also proven something more frightening. They had shown they could do it without becoming monsters themselves. They could wage total war while still protecting innocent civilians. The peace negotiations are not really negotiations, Voxtal admitted. The humans will tell us what the terms are and we will accept them. We have no choice. They have all our weapons. They know all our secrets. They understand our technology better than we do. The neutral diplomat had seen many wars end, but never like this. What will happen to your people? We will live, Voxtal said simply. We will farm and build and learn. But we will never again have the power to threaten other worlds. The humans have made sure of that. They dismantled our war machine so completely that it would take centuries to rebuild it if we even could. Outside the broken command center, alien civilians went about their daily lives. Children played in parks. Adults worked in shops and offices. The humans had kept their promise to protect innocent people, even while destroying their enemies' ability to make war. They fought like demons when we threatened their families, Voxtal continued. But when they won, they acted like civilized beings. They took our weapons but left our homes. They captured our soldiers but did not harm our children. The final humiliation had been the peace ceremony itself. Instead of meeting with politicians or diplomats, the hegemony leaders had to negotiate with the same human soldiers who had been hunting them across the galaxy. These battle-tested warriors who had learned to think like their enemies now sat calmly across a table, offering terms for peace. Commander Voxtal was right, Voxtal said quietly. He tried to warn us about humanity's soldiers. But he should have warned us about humanity itself. They are not just warriors. They are something far more dangerous. They are survivors who have learned to think.